going into FP1, FP2, quick update. Isaac Aja raced for Red Bull, substituting Sergio Perez, while Colapinto raced for Williams, substituting Logan Sargent, and we have Oliver Bierman doing it for Haas, substituting Kevin Magnussen. Also, we have Oliver Bierman signing a deal for Haas to race for them next year. I think it's a multiple year deal, and that is a training driver for Ferrari. So who will Mercedes be signing? We don't know yet, but I think their eggs are into the basket of Kimi Antonelli, but we don't know yet. Carlos Sainz is still looking for space. Ocon has not given us where he's going to yet, but I think he has gotten a seat. Pierre Gasly remains with Alpine. Daniel Ricciardo, we don't know. So some speculation says he will be retiring or he will be going nowhere, but I think Renault might be looking back at him if Carlos Sainz is not forthcoming. Bottas, we don't know where he's going yet. Zhou Guanyu, we don't know yet if he's staying or he's going, but that's where we are. Jacques Drouin also substituted Pierre Gasly in Alpine. Those are the news. Normal FP1, long 4 runs, low 4 runs, up and down the grid, but the Mercedes and the Red Bull looks pacey on medium and hard tires. The front runners, the McLaren and the Aston Martin, what a surprise today. Norris on soft tires is about 3/10 faster than Verstappen on medium tires, and the range of those tires should be like 5/10 to 7/10. So 3/10 looks close. Looks as if the Red Bull and the Mercedes are on pace. They are very close. Now, this week looks like a very, very close battle. We've seen a lot of close battles. Will the battle between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris continue? It depends on the setup and the upgrades they brought and how it works for them. Talk about the upgrades very soon. But we are going to definitely see a lot of battles between them this year. We have 12 more races to go. It's going to be all dicing, speculating, crazy. Forget about it. That's how it's going to be. Lando Norris in a speech yesterday said he does not need Max Verstappen to apologize, that they've spoken about it, which means it's going to be hard races because certainly Max Verstappen is not going to give in or stop racing the way he wants to race, except the stewards comes in and tell him he's on the edge, because certainly we always know he's on the edge. He does it on purpose and he will use every racing line to make sure he defends and he wins a race. And most times it goes wrong, and we all know it goes wrong. Pushing other drivers off the track, destroying other people's car, he doesn't care as long as he wins. And if he's not winning, the other driver is not winning. Nobody they win here. That's how he races. And for Norris to say, hey, no problems, I own it up to myself, talked about it, and nothing else like, okay, am I going to fight or not fight? It means it's going to be all out between them. Anytime they meet, nobody's going to grieve for anybody, and they are going to keep colliding, dragging, eating themselves. That's how it's going to be. I'm telling you, this season we might see that this race, and if possibly the Mercedes will feature in that. I know George Russell might have a little edge. We all know Lewis Hamilton is leaving Mercedes this year, so a lot of informations are not on his hands, unlike last year, which he has a lot of data that he can work with. Doesn't have information, so we can expect him to not really have a good racing or a good qualifying like it has always been, because if he's having data, he's seeing what he can work with, then it will be easier for him. Unlike George Russell having his data, looking at his data to work with and to gain and to be faster than him, you already know what will happen. So certainly it's going to be tough for Lewis Hamilton, but for George Russell, if he can feature in that battle and Charles Leclerc can feature in that battle, I tell you, it's going to be bangers, bananas, busty and pretty, because that's how it's going to be. And I wish it to be much more friendlier and much more open race, but with the way it is, everybody already knows with what Red Bull are saying, that Max Verstappen is not going to stop racing the way he's racing. They are giving him a backup, that every other driver is wrong. I love Max Verstappen, certainly, but the team is not helping, like I've always said. But certainly other teams and other drivers are going to be like, well, whoever loses, lose. Whoever wins, wins. Everybody go on guard, go on your elbows, point it out. Who gets the worst damage gets it. Who gets the best damage gets it. So that's how it's going to be. So certainly it's going to be bananas, it's going to be hot, it's going to be crazy for now till the end of the season. And I hope other teams are able to bring more upgrades that would empower them to give a good racing. Lando Norris ended the FP1 top on soft tires, Lance Stroll soft tires second, Piastri soft tires third, Verstappen medium tires fourth, Russell medium tires fifth, Alonso sixth with soft tires, Lewis Hamilton seventh with medium tires, Leclerc medium tires eighth, Carlos Sainz hard tires 9. Carlos Sainz on hard tires is just 5/10 away from Lando Norris on soft tires. That looks massively implode, and you can know what is going to happen. It's going to be a close race, certainly, but who gets the upper hand, we don't know yet. For those that brought upgrades, McLaren brought good upgrade. Aston Martin, yeah, they brought good upgrade, but their performance, no track related upgrades. They brought the front wings and the rear corner. The front wing to modify the twist distribution of wing element, changing the front wing shape, while the rear corner is on the outboard face of the lips that they replaced. McLaren, rear wing, beam wing B and beam wing again. The Coke engine cover, they are track related. They brought a nice Coke engine cover for additional cooling, low beam wing, mid beam wing, high beam wing and low downforce rear wing. Haas brought upgrades. with the coke cover at the rear that makes it look like a Red Bull, and the pointed side cover that makes it look like the McLaren. Red Bull brought upgrades, their performance related upgrades, the floor body for the subtle reprofiling of their surface of the floor behind the lower SIS, and also the floor edge, the minor reprofiling of the edge wing. Mercedes brought circuit related upgrade and one performance upgrade. The performance upgrade is the rear corner upper lip of the rear alignment, while the circuit related are the front wings, rear wings, and the front corner. Other teams brought upgrades, but those are the major upgrades that we saw. How will these upgrades perform? I believe they're going to perform well, and these guys are going to do well because we can see close racing. The are looking fine in the FP1. The VCAB are looking flying in FP1. So let's see what happens in FP2. The FP2 will be similar to the FP1 with so many tests, so many performance, because Isaac Aja was able to do a lot of performance tests on the second car of the Red Bull in FP1, while Max Verstappen was able to do much of qualifying and long run paces. But I'll look at the data to see their long runs to see who has the edge. And by FP2, we'll know who has the edge. Also, before I go to FP2, Red Bull brought another upgrade, which is the color upgrade to make their car more red. We know they are Red Bull, but Red Bull looks blue and silver with a tint of red, but this looks more reddish. Up until FP2, I love you guys. So, FP2, the cars were on track on FP2. Now we can see almost what replica of what we are expecting in the qualifying and in the long run. There are less testing in FP2, a lot of long runs and some short runs, but we can see that the McLaren carried their speed from the morning down to their leading the FP2. Lando Norris leading next to Oscar Piastri, his teammate, and it's showing that the McLaren have the speed on the soft tire, with Sergio Perez outpacing his teammate Max Verstappen by over 2/10 in the FP2. The Haas is pretty working well in the hands of Nico Hülkenberg. I think they're doing a lot of testing with Magnussen, but I think there is a lot of speed in that car. It shows that the Ferrari engine 2 is up to the task, and we can see Leclerc also showing some space. But Hamilton complaining that he is so slow. Like I said earlier, there are less data he can get, and I think this is where most of these teams do things that affect themselves. If you can get less data, how can he interpret what he's feeling with the team? How can he use the data to help the team to grow? That is one of the things that a driver moving away from the team and the team hiding his data will certainly cause. Lewis Hamilton leading his teammate, coming in 6th, and his teammate in 10th, was complaining about the car being slow. But what can he do when he is not open to so many of the data? So I think the Mercedes, like I said earlier, needs to do a lot of job on that. They need to know how to open up so that they can help their team to move forward. Meanwhile, the secret they are thinking of covering is next year, not this year. So there are ways I think they should balance that and see how they can move forward. And from George Russell's side, he's complaining that the car does not feel well like it felt in the afternoon. Though the weather changed, it was more cooler in the afternoon and the rain came towards the end of the session. But there was a lot of wind. I think all this will impact the car, and an experienced driver will be able to know how to work with the data to give the team and tell them to improve the car. And that is where I think Mercedes are lacking behind. They need to work that out and see what they can do about that. Also, the front runners in the morning looks a little bit aback. The Aston Martin are not looking as sharp as they were in the morning, but the car still look perfect somehow. The Mercedes, like I said, needs to find pace in the car. The Williams still look pacey, especially towards the end of where they are. But in the FP3 tomorrow, we'll be able to see the true colors and where these cars will be. But this race is looking like a battle between the McLaren and the Red Bull. Who will come victorious? A lot of people are shifting towards the McLaren side. I also shift to McLaren side. I want to see another fight this week. I want to see big elbows coming out, big punches, big chunks coming out from the hands of Oscar Piastri and his teammate Lando Norris against Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen up until FP3 qualifying tomorrow. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.